We have some fun over-unders for you Michigan State fans about games, about players, about, well, other former assistant coaches, apparently. But first, what concerns us the most about this season? Let's go.
You are Locked On Spartans, your daily podcast on the Michigan State Spartans, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Spartan friends, Spartan family, Locked On Spartans listeners, if you're listening to this on Wednesday, holy smokes, we are single-digit days away from Michigan State kicking off their season. Before we get to any of that, though, hey, today's episode is brought to you by Bird Dogs. Go to birddogs.com/lockedoncollege or enter promo code LOCKEDONCollege for a free white tech hat with any purchase. You won't want to take your Bird Dogs off, we promise you. Maxwell Klitzke, friend of the program. He has made his return. I cannot believe he agreed to do this one more time. But, dude, my man, how are we doing as we are not double digits from kickoff? We are 9 days away from kickoff now. We feeling okay over there?
Yeah, we're feeling pretty great. Just pulled up the week 0 schedule. Excited to gather around Will Hunter's refrigerator to watch UCLA
Yes.
San Jose State on the Pac-12 network. Looking forward to it. It's going to be a great weekend. It's nice that we are not a week 0 game and we have a whole nother week to argue about things on the internet that don't matter.
No, it's great. Like a quarterback battle that no one knows how it's going to end.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm glad you brought up the USC thing because, I was looking at the week 1 schedule earlier today, too. It's like, wow, we get to see the number 6 team in the country kick off their season. Oh, wait, no, we don't. It's on Pac-12 network. Right. 7 people in the country have that on their television. But whatever.
Shout out Larry Scott.
One time for Larry Scott. Larry boy. Maxwell, I don't know how often you listen to the show. I'd imagine like a healthy person, maybe never. I think we have been optimistic on this show in build up to the opening night game against Central Michigan. However, it would be clownery to just go blindly through the whole offseason, the days and the weeks leading up to it, not talk about, hey, maybe some concerns. Look, Michigan State has an over-under of 5.5. Probably for a reason. They did go 5-7 last year. I don't know if anyone remembers that, but nice little refresher. For this first segment, before we get into our series of over-unders, some smiles, some laughter, we're each going to say our number one concern for the season coming up. We're not going to do a whole list, not a top 10. Okay, we want to keep it somewhat upbeat, but still be based in reality here. Maxwell, do you mind batting first? Going into this 2023 season, what is your number one concern for this Michigan State team?
My number one concern, and really like the first thing that I will always look at for every game, is our success on early downs in offense and defense. So I'm just going to throw some quick numbers at you. They're not good, first of all.
Oh, good.
So like
okay.
early down.
Great.
So one of the stats I look at is like early down success rate. So that basically means is like, are you getting, I think it's around like 40%. It's a certain percentage of yards on first down, a certain percentage of yards on second down. Blanking on what it is. That's poor show prep on me. Bad guess. Anyways, Michigan State on offense ranked 85th in early down success rate, with only 38.3% of their plays being successful.
Okay, great.
So that's crucial in as we saw with the offense, it was super stagnant, behind schedule, behind the chains, and we saw a lot of high leverage plays on third down go wrong, and then we punt the ball away. And our defense was not very good at keeping other teams from being successful in early downs. We ranked 80th in the country in that, and we allowed a success rate about 41% of the time. So when you're playing teams like Washington and Ohio State, and even Michigan's incredible at early down success rate, just because they're able to just get their 4 to 6 yards on first and second down and just keep the chains moving, keep everything moving forward. And that's going to be my biggest concern, because if we don't have any improvement in that, then what the front seven's doing isn't working in early downs, and it's putting them in, at-risk situations. Like the offense playbook is open for the offense on third down. And vice versa for the defense. For the offensive side, we're in obvious passing situations, and we've seen how that kind of went last year. And with quarterback play, we think it should be better than what it was last year, but that's still a huge question mark. They have to prove that to us. So overall, every single game, how are we doing on first and second downs? Are we staying on schedule? Are we keeping the opponent, off schedule? So
yeah. It gives me some solace knowing that, like, Dyron Reynolds, I believe, was the assistant coach that brought that up. But he essentially said, look, the thesis of what we are doing this offseason is making sure that we get the other team to those third and longs. And obviously that's a strategy that every football team should have. But I think they do know that it was a concern last year. It's not good. Get ready for this hot take. It's not good to let opponents average 4.3 yards per carry on the ground, especially when you play in the Big Ten Conference. That doesn't do you any favors, but just the success rate over downs too. That's some. Those are nice numbers, but they're also, for Michigan State fans, terrible numbers. But what a great indicator of how good you can be on the football field with those. But I know how silly this sounds. Hey, the coaches are talking about it, but what if nothing changes?
Yeah, what if it doesn't work,
Maxwell? What if it doesn't work?
I know. We think that's going to be better. We think Windman's going to be better in his linebacker spot. We think we can rotate all these guys. Scotty was
depth.
Yeah, Scotty was adamant about guys can play full out because they're not worried about having to play 70 snaps. Well, they got to do something on the hopefully only 35 to 50 snaps that they do play. So,
for my number one concern, I'm going to go boring here. I'm going to say what's on a lot of people's minds. Hey, it's the secondary. What an original thought that was. But I can go a little deeper into that. But, I mean, we know the issues with the secondary. It is, I don't even want to say the numbers. I don't have to. We all know how horrible it has been. But, hey, there's a tweet that was sent out by just a strapping gentleman earlier today. I'm just going to read it off. I forgot who sent it. It says, Michigan State plays 4 of the 7 skill position players selected as first-team preseason All-Americans and all 3 of the wide receivers. Prove your worth. Oh, wait, hold on. Wait, that was Maxwell Klitzke who tweeted that out. Would you look at that? So not only have we had some serious issues in the secondary, really in the whole Mel Tucker era, the opponents are not going to let up on the gas pedal. They are coming in with players that will be shining on Sundays on a TV screen near you in the near future. So but to bring it more micro, though, I am very concerned about the whole Darius Snow thing. Look, this isn't a Michigan State specific issue. There are plenty of college teams out there that lack a pass coverage linebacker. Way easier said to get one than it is to actually do it. He is the guy that can do it on Michigan State, and so far, it looks like we are not going to be seeing him week 1, maybe week 2, maybe week 3, or even if we do see him, it's going to be at a very limited capacity. He's not going to be the Darius Snow of old. So, okay, Aaron Brule, better luck than last year. Go get him, champ. Woo, Angelo Gross, come on down. Oh boy, it's a steep drop off from Darius Snow.
It's nervous. I don't know if it was Peach or you or Chief that put something out, but what are you looking for? What do you think we improve on? And I responded with coverage. I think it was you because it was coverage from linebackers. Because if we saw last year, Ben Van Sumeren when he was in, and then Cal Halliday were absolutely picked on and abused. And even in that Michigan game where Jacoby moved back to that linebacker spot, he's still probably had some rush from playing the, a front D-line position, but they were getting Colson Loveland and, other guys out in motion and getting him moving laterally, and he struggled with it. So that's something I really hope that they've addressed or at least shored up. But not having Darius at least ready to go right when the season starts is definitely a huge blow. I don't know if it's something where they're just going to, grit their teeth and hang on and white knuckle it until he is able to be back. But we obviously have no idea what Darius Snow we're going to get back to. So that is very concerning, especially because he's such a big piece of the program from just anchoring the defense, kind of being that X role without, getting the playing time that he got last year. But, him being back in any capacity on the field is huge. I just hope that we don't aren't in a position where we're we could have really used him for the front half of the season. So
I hear that 100%. It could be another like Xavier Henderson thing all over again. Hey, hope everyone's in a really good mood right now after that. Hey, look at that. No, we're going to have a lot more fun here in a hot segment. But first, need to talk your ears off about Bird Dog shorts, the best shorts in the game. Let me talk to you about my weekend. All right, woke up, went to a farm with the wife and little Tyke. After that, did some shopping. We did a happy hour after that, and then the rest of the night playing outside at the playground in the backyard with my little Tyke. And then Sunday, woke up, did a golf outing. You guessed it, all in my Bird Dogs. That's right. You could live out a whole day in a Richard Scarry book and just do a little bit of this, a little bit of that, all in the same pair of shorts because these bad boys are versatile. You're going to look good in these Bird Dogs. And also, hey, number 3, you're going to feel good because the Bird Dogs I got, they are the ones with the liner on the inside. It's like wearing a compression short 24/7 with just the right amount of snugness. You can do it all in your Bird Dogs while looking good and feeling good. So what are you waiting for? Go to birddogs.com/lockedoncollege or enter promo code LOCKEDONCollege for a free white tech hat with your order. That's birddogs.com/lockedoncollege or promo code LOCKEDONCollege. Again, for a free white tech hat. You will not want to take your Bird Dogs off. We promise you. Also, speaking of great clothing, we got some more for you because homefieldapparel.com is laying it down for can't miss kickoff this year. They are dropping hammers across their line. They just dropped their Michigan State line not too long ago. Well, I shouldn't say their line, their refresh, like 12 new items, all of them just dazzling for you. But Friday, they are going to drop almost a literal bomb on us because they are going to unveil the Michigan State Bomber jacket this Friday. I have not gotten a sneak peek at it. I'm going to be honest, but if you go on homefieldapparel.com, you look at the other schools' Bomber jackets that they've unveiled, simply sensational. You will not want to miss what they're going to drop on Friday. Or hey, if you just want a t-shirt, you just want a sweatshirt, long sleeve shirt, homefieldapparel.com. But don't just go there and order. Smash in promo code LOS23 for 15% off of your first order. One more time, gang, homefieldapparel.com, promo code LOS23 for 15% off of your order. Now let's get the wonderful Maxwell Klitzke back in the mix here. First time we had you on, we talked about last year's Maryland game, last year's Indiana game, and now we just did a first segment of, hey, what is going to keep you up at night as we go to kickoff? We're going to try something really outside of our comfort zone here, Maxwell, between me and you. We're going to try to have some fun. We're going to try to put a smile on those faces.
We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, we got a long way to go still. Okay, so this is over-unders. If you guys have no idea how betting works, how over-unders work, it's easy. We're going to say a sentence. We're going to give a number. We're going to guess if it's going to be over that number or under that number. Maxwell, I'm going to put you on the hot seat first. I understand that you are a guest that goes above and beyond. You brought a few of your own.
I certainly did.
What a guy. He does it all, folks. This is unbelievable. I want to start with this one, though. Maybe a basic one, definitely going to be a big storyline into the season because I think Michigan State has a great defensive line. You probably do too, Maxwell. You listening, you probably do. So the first over-under, average opponent's yards per carry, we're going to set the over-under at 3.3. Now, that's a big number because last year, 3.3 would get you tied for third. Michigan, Illinois, and Penn State all held opponents to 3.3 yards per carry, and it's not lost with me how big of a jump that would be for Michigan State. Last year, 4.3 yards per carry for their opponent, third worst in the Big Ten. Do you really think that they can make a jump that big, Maxwell, over or under 3.3 yards for their opponents? That's a good answer. That is a good answer.
Yeah, it's a good question to be on the spot. So you have some interesting running backs on the schedule. You lost I think Washington's lead back announced today he was out for the season, likely with injury. But you still have the two tandems at the big three schools. You have Blake Corum, Donovan Edwards. You have Travion Henderson and Mayan Williams, and then you have Katron Allen, MSU recruiting product. Katron Allen and Nick Singleton. And then even Maryland has one guy, I can't remember, I'm blanking on his name, but Minnesota obviously doesn't have Mo Ibrahim, but they're replacing Mo Ibrahim with Sean Tyler. And if you remember him from the Western game, he broke off a pretty sizable run against MSU's defense. And that was our fully healthy, front seven that we had. So I think I mean, part of this could just be bleeding over from the first segment, but I'm going to lead towards that we're going to go over on the 3.3, but we're going to be under that 4.3. I know we have, Jalen Sammy, Tamiche Adelaide, and then, a few other guys. Simeon Barrow and Derek Harmon have been really well in that front line to plug holes. But I think it's not a matter of, MSU's pass rush front seven being bad. It's just you're going up against like the literal best of the best. So I would have to go over to be the negative Nancy on this one. So
I don't hate that. And just to be contrarian, I guess I'll go under. Like, I understand all those names that you just read off right there are A+ names. Any one of those guys could be first team all Big Ten. Zero doubt about that. But I am just incredibly high on this front, not just the front four, obviously, but the front seven as well. I feel like I would just be a hypocrite if I talked all this big game all the offseason and didn't say, under 3.5. So give me 3.1. I don't think it's going to be like 2018 numbers, which was 2.6 yards per carry. Yeah,
that's nuts. Yeah.
That was nice. I do like that defense, but I think like 3.1, 3.2. Lofty, but that's what I'm going to go for.
Hey, as long as it's under the number.
One? Under's under. You know what? Do you just want to go flip-flop here? Do you want to bounce one off me? And then
so this one will be you'll be able to probably answer this one pretty quickly. I won't need a lot of feedback for it. FOIA requests by Detroit media personnel into Matt Weiss's computer access crimes. The line is at 0.5.
I'm obliterate. I'm putting the mortgage, my parents' mortgage, my in-laws' mortgage on the under. We are going to blow the under to smithereens on that one.
I understand that we're a Michigan State podcast, but seriously, that's just he was accessing other accounts. We're good. We don't need to know anymore.
Who's amongst us?
No.
Unmarked cars outside of the house?
No.
That's just Thursday over here. That's every day.
Yeah, this isn't.
That's great.
This isn't somebody bringing 40 eye clickers to class. It's not. There's something more here.
No, it's great. They're up for another big season. Detroit media when it comes to covering their favorite team in Ann Arbor or covering up everything in Ann Arbor. Who's to say? We'll stay tuned and find out, I guess. But that's a strong one to kick things off with. I want to go to the quarterback competition here. Hold on, I just deleted my notes for some reason. All right, there we go. Games where two quarterbacks play in the first half. Over under set at 2.5. I hope I worded that question right. So I'll say it again. Games where two quarterbacks play in the first half. Over under is at 2.5. Maxwell.
Yeah, I actually almost put something similar to this on my list, but I couldn't figure out how to phrase it.
It's clunky. So yeah. Basically, will it be over by the Washington game and also stay over after the Washington game?
I hope so.
It's like a two-part question. Right. If it's over, this is not a good season then, right? That's just my way to look at it. I get that, like, you can run a two-quarterback system and everyone says, Florida did it back in 2006 with Chris Sleek and Tim Tebow. It's like, say those two names again. One of the greatest college football players of all time. And, I think that's a little different circumstance than what we got here, guys. It was also 15 years ago.
Right, yeah. I'm taking the under here because I think that they're going to use that. I mean, we've seen it. We saw it happen in Ann Arbor. They went with JJ and Cade for, they split time the first two games. Granted, they could sleepwalk through their first 7 games of their schedule last year.
Right.
But I think we'll see, we have 2 really good opportunities. And even so, before those games, staff has already hinted at them doing it. And I don't know why they would hamstring themselves at this point to announce a quarterback. Just have both guys play against Central and Richmond and then trot somebody out, make Washington prepare for both and see who they get. So, but other than that first half, I really hope, barring injury as well, we wouldn't see anybody else.
Right.
So I would have to definitely go with the under there.
Okay. I agree.
Yeah,
reluctantly. You can see you can hear the confidence in my voice. I'm going to go under as well.
Yeah. So I actually just thought of something. Are we counting Wildcat quarterbacks? Do they have to be positionally recruited quarterbacks here?
Shoot, you know what? Yeah, if I could add a footnote after that, I'll re-edit all this to make sure that this is
okay. Cool.
The front
of the
we'll question
take care of it in post. That's fine.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Love doing post stuff. It has to be a full series and a half. It can't just be like,
Okay.
hey, doing a cameo here.
Yeah,
Third and
under.
4. I'm gonna skedaddle in the Wildcat. Like,
Yeah,
it's got to be a full series, right? Okay.
Yeah.
I like under, and I think because I need it to be under. Like, I don't want this to drag out throughout the season. Like, I do want both guys to get a fair shot, but like, I want to make up our minds by the time you go to Kinnick. That'd be cool. I mean, just call me old fashioned, but I think that'd be a good idea.
I mean, 10 years ago, we had kind of a decision was made before a game in Kinnick, and look how that turned out for us.
I mean,
something to chew on. That's all.
It was a movie.
Yeah.
You got that right. Excellent.
Okay.
All right.
So my next one, let's see here. I think this one will end up being a little positive.
Okay. We'll see.
Players with multiple touchdowns from scrimmage this year. Wow. So not quarterback passing touchdowns, but rushing touchdowns, receiving touchdowns. The line is at 7.5.
You know what? I was gonna say, like, it would have to be like, this sounds crazy. It would have to be like 9.5 for me to really sit on it. And maybe I'm just way too caught up in this whole wide receiver battle. Like, I know that they're not going to drag out 7 receivers playing equal reps the entire season, but like, I think it will be kind of close to start the year. And I'm just penciling in all 3 running backs having a touchdown. So that's 3 off the top right there. Trey Mosley, Malik Carr, that's 5. And I imagine you can get 3 other receivers to catch a ball. So I do like 7.5. I'm going to go multiple touchdowns.
Yeah. So at least 2.
Oh God. Okay. Should I see? This is why I did so bad in high school. I didn't listen to the directions closely enough. Under.
Okay.
Under.
Do you want
7 on the dot?
Do you want a little?
I would like. Please drop it on me. Yeah.
So 2018, 6.
Okay.
2019, 6.
2 great offensive years. Good. Awesome.
Impeccable.
Right.
2020, noted offensive juggernaut.
Yeah.
Michigan State, 3.
Oh, yeah,
3 guys with multiple touchdowns. In 2021, big offensive explosion.
Yeah.
6 guys.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. And then last year in 2022, we had 9 players.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. That is.
So there was some research done
facts
here. So if you think about it, we've preached the mobility of Kim and even Hauser when he was recruited in. He was like, don't sleep on his athletic ability. I think Justin Thin of 24/7 has hinted at, more QB run potentially. So that could open up, we saw Peyton Thorne have keepers. So definitely quarterback getting multiple touchdowns. And then we have a wide open receiver room and essentially a wide open, very toolsy running back room along with Malik Carr. So, you have gadget guys like Alontae Brown, and then you have Trey Mosley, and then you have Jaron Mangum in goal line situations. And then you have Montori Foster and Nate Carter and Jalen Barberin and those guys. So and then Malik Carr, who is somehow still growing. I think he's going to be like 7'3" and 298 by the time we play Michigan at this rate with how they've been saying that he's growing. So I'm actually going to take the over on this because of the amount of the breadth of, talent that we have in the skill positions.
I like that. Yeah, Malik Carr, 7'3". He's going to transfer back to Purdue to play for Matt Painter in the center position.
As a grad transfer, right?
It is canon. That is precisely what
literal Paul Bunyan, Malik Carr.
Yes. I got one that was just kind of a simple one to jot down here, but it wins against preseason top 25 teams. It's a low number, Maxwell, that I'm going to give you. It's 0.5. Do you see a win against a preseason top 25 team? And the teams, we're going to off AP poll here. Michigan, Ohio State, Penn State, Washington, all in the top 10. Michigan State's the only school to play 4 preseason AP top 10 teams. How lucky for us. And then number 25, Iowa as well. But as we all know by now, that's on the road at Kinnick. And I'd rather play in the depths of hell than Kinnick Stadium. It never goes well, except for that game you mentioned earlier. That was fun. Yeah.
Over.
Yeah, let's go. See, who says we're always negative when we get together? Let's go.
It's over.
Let's go. There it is.
So I think I was having this discussion earlier today. I was trying to game out, of those teams that we're definitely not favored against. They're not lean losses. They're scheduled losses at this kind of
losses
point, until we see what this team is capable of. We look at Iowa. They have Cade McNamara and Eric All on offense, making them a competent offense. Hopefully, Cade, for some listeners, hopefully Cade is, he's okay from that muscle injury he's sustained in practice.
Sure. Yeah.
But they're at least going to be a competent offense. They're like a good experiment for like a baby Michigan. If you want to look at it this way, like you look at games on the schedule that help you games later on the schedule, Iowa's one of those teams that could, give us a tell to see how we compete with a team like Michigan and line up. There's definitely a path to beating Washington as well. It's very unlikely, and it has a lot of assumptions. It has the assumption that the front seven is able to keep Washington behind schedule and put them in obvious passing downs. And then once you're in there, you can really tee off. And then, hopefully you get enough pressure that the secondary can hold on for a less half second. But again, that's a lot of assumptions, and their defense isn't very good. It's like middle of the pack in the Pac-12, which is kind of saying
Inspiring. Yeah, it's good.
So, I mean, there's paths there. They're not likely because right now they're scheduled losses, but there's definitely pieces and things we can see along the season that gives me confident that we at least sneak one of those. It's definitely not going to be Ohio State. I'm less confident about Penn State just because of how good they looked on defense last year and everybody that they're bringing back. Like, my whole thing is like Manny Diaz circles Land-Grant Trophy Week. He's like the Ivan Drago photo of Michigan Sparty on his mirror that he's just like tearing up every day, because Michigan State is one of the main reasons that Manny Diaz is no longer in Coral Gables, living in Miami, and is in State College, Pennsylvania. Could you imagine what that does to a man?
Oh, Mel Tucker himself put the for sale sign in his front lawn after that game. Not good. Yeah. that's
I think we get one. I think we get one somehow, some way. So
I like that. I'm going to go over 2. I think it's going to be that Washington game or the Penn State game, because Penn State, I think very highly of Penn State. If I had to pick a team to win the Big Ten, I would actually maybe go with Penn State here. However, I've seen Mr. Franklin puke on his shoes many times in big game situations. So, hey, if it's the last game of the regular season, he just needs to win to go to Indianapolis. Would you look at that? Michigan State 32, Penn State Nittany Lions 29, or some weird score like that. I could see it all happening in front of me. Just weird decisions throughout the game. So, want to try to sneak in one more each here? Over-unders?
Yeah, mine can be pretty quick if you want me to just double up.
Mine's nonsense. Mine's a nonsense quick one. So,
cool.
No,
I have one that's
no
a little more. That's a little more we can kind of flesh out or do quick.
Sure.
Players receiving all Big Ten honors at the end of the season.
I have the same one written down. I'm excited to hear your number. I'm excited to hear your number.
I set my line at 5.5.
Okay.
So that's including offense and defense and special teams, all 3 teams.
Yeah. I had it at 4.5 because last year they had 4 as well. The year prior they had 6. I am going to go under 5.5. I'm going to say 5 on the dot, and I'm going to call my shot here too. I'm going to go Simeon Barrow, Cal Halliday, Jacoby Windman, Malik Carr, and then a lineman. Like if we're going to have a strong year running the ball, I don't know if it's going to be strong enough where Nathan Carter can make a top 3 all Big Ten team, which is an insane sentence to say, but that's our conversation from earlier.
Right, yeah.
So many great running backs in the Big Ten, but maybe they throw Samac a bone, Duplain a bone, or something like that just for,
Gino Vandemark.
Sure, Gino Vandemark. That's another great one. Like just something to say, hey, way to get 4.4 yards on the ground or whatever the number will be at the end of the year. So I'm going to go under 5.5.
I was leaning. I didn't know where I sat with this one when I was trying to figure it out.
It's a good number. It's a good number.
So Cal Halliday was the only one that was named preseason. So he's definitely unless injury happens or anything, he's probably going to be on the list. It's very surprising to have somebody not fall off the list for non-injury reasons, for play reasons. So chalk him in. Simeon Barrow's, I think, a lock for it, honestly. We could see Jacoby Windman. And then offensive line, we do see at least one lineman. Maybe Trey Mosley sneaks on, depending on how the offense goes. That's still only 4 fringe 5. I was trying to think you could get 3 on offense and 3 on defense, and there's your 6. So just trying to find that third offensive guy. Or
I wish I looked this up. Do they do kickoff guy too?
They do place kicker. They do kickers. Jonathan Kim could backdoor this number and get it to 6.
Oh, he could front door it.
Yeah.
For place kicking, he could front door it. Oh yeah, this guy's got a cannon for a leg. I love that. Let's go. Oh yeah, no. We're going over. Thank you, Jonathan Kim, for your services already. Maxwell, I want to bounce one more off you before we all go enjoy the rest of our week here. It is former MSU quarterback week 1 wins. We're going to set the bar at 1.5. It is Northern Illinois, the Fighting Rocky Lombardis at Boston College. It is Theo Day at Iowa State with Northern Iowa. And then, of course, the Fighting Peyton Thorns of Auburn. They are hosting UMass. Over under 1.5 wins here for the former Spartan Dogs for life.
Sorry, who's Northern playing again?
They are playing Iowa State. Northern Iowa at Iowa State, and then Northern Illinois at Boston College. Boston College. Michigan State's non-conference opponent next year. Nice little preview for you. Yeah.
Over.
Okay.
Over.
Do you want to call your shot? Are you going to say Northern Iowa and Northern Illinois win, and then Auburn loses to UMass? Is that
no?
Is that
as much as I would love to say that, I can't say that. Because that's just not going to happen.
We're not feeling ourselves that much here.
No, it may. I'm leaning towards like a clean sweep because the Iowa State team is dropping like flies right now amidst the stuff that they have going on.
It's not good.
I don't think there's going to be a lot of bodies to play in Ames. And Theo Day named to the Walter Payton Award watch list, which is the FCS equivalent of the Heisman Trophy.
Let's go. Okay, nice. You know what? I'm going to lock in that parlay on FanDuel. We are going to take Northern Illinois, Northern Iowa, and Auburn. Once those odds come out, we will lock that in as the Spartan Dog for Life parlay. That's what we're going to call it. Once a Spartan, always a Spartan, go green until I die parlay.
Classic Theo Day. I'm going to check out of this one play, throw a 5-yard out to get the sticks moving, and then immediately get pulled, and we never see him again.
That's why I loved him. That's called taking initiative. He saw this offense stall out the first, 10 games of the season. He says, you know what? I'm going to freestyle and take matters in my own hands. It worked, and then benched immediately. It's like, oh, sorry, Mr. Warner. I didn't want to do up the middle.
Oh, this wasn't Mr. Warner.
It was.
This was 2020.
Oh,
this was in the midst of the Rocky Lombardi, Theo Day, Peyton Thorne, Dewey Byrne, Kim's red shirt in his first season. Yeah, for everybody who thinks this 23 quarterback mess has been, we just completely avoided 2020 from our minds.
Yeah,
of the in-season stuff that we've been doing. So,
well, we start on a high note. We end on a high note here on Locked On Spartans. Maxwell, this was fantastic. I'd love to have you on during the season. You don't have to say yes or no right now, but this is always a great chat. Hopefully, we could have more upbeat chats in the future. That kind of depends on how Michigan State does. But hey, until then, Max, enjoy the rest of your week. The listeners, the viewers, you guys enjoy the rest of your week as well. Love you all. Go green.